Hi guys, welcome back again to my channel. It's your girl Joni. So today I'll be making jumpsuit. This is a 3 years of a light poly. So this part is stretchy while the other part is not. So I'll be making use of the stretchy part to be the round while the non-stretchy will be the length. So I'll first of all mark the length of the trouser. The trouser, what I mean is full length minus half length, then what is remaining there will serve as the trouser length. So after marking the trouser length, the next thing I'm going to mark is from waist you get to hip line. After marking the hip line, the next thing you are going to mark is the crouch line. So normal crouch line is hip divided by 4 plus 1 inch, but since we are making a jumpsuit, it will be hip divided by 4 plus 2 inches. So I will mark the crouch line. After that, if you want yours to be as tight as being fitted on you, you can mark new line. But if you want it to be a palazzo like free, you don't need new line. So on the hip line, I'll be inserting the hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch for sewing. So whatever I have here, I'll be inserting it on the waistline. Whatever I have on the hip, I will insert it on the waistline. So I'm going to mark this thread. I'm going to connect it this way. After which, on the crush, I will connect it to the crush. So here, being the crush, I'll be inserting the lap measurement divided by 2, not 4. Then I will add 1 inch for sewing. After which, I'm going to connect it this way with help of curve ruler. You can make use of your free hand, but here I'm making use of French curve. Connect it this way. So after that, the next thing you are going to mark now is to determine the knee, if you want it fitted, but it will not be fitted. So whatever I have on the laps, that is on the crush line, is what I'm going to get insert till the full length. So I'm going to insert that till I reach the full length. After which, I'm going to connect the lines. So the next thing I'm going to insert on the waist, I will take my measurement from this line. So I will take my measurement inwards. My waist divided by 4, then plus 1 inch for sewing. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to connect this to the hip line. So after connecting, this is how it's looking like now. So the next thing I'm going to do now, for the front, you will come down by 1 inch for the front. This is exactly how you cut out your trouser also. The difference between the jumpsuit and trouser is that crush, which you went down by extra 1 inch. So this is it for the front. I'll go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting, this is what I have. This is the front. I will use the front to cut out the back. So for the back, this is how you are going to cut out the back. First of all, you determine the inches that you add as your extra allowance for sewing. And the next thing you're going to do from here now, you come up by 1.5. You can come as far as coming up by 2 inches, depending on how big or how big the butt is. So you connect it to the side this way, after which here I'll be inserting 2 inches. So here being the crotch, I will be inserting 2 inches down to the full length. So after that, the next thing you're going to do is to connect the dots this way. So the next thing is to connect the crotch to the waistline. This is how I cut my trouser, as in the back pattern of my trouser, so that it will not have too much excess at the back. With this, you can still have allowance for zip. So the next thing I'm going to do is to come out by 1 inch from the side. Then I'm going to connect it to the hip line. So that is it for the back. The next thing you are going to do is to determine if you have allowance for the zip and the joining. Just measure it this way. So I'm going to cut out these parts. So this is it after cutting. This is how it's looking like, the front and the back. So the next thing I'm going to cut is the up, which is from shoulder to half length. Then you add it a join allowance. So the length I'm working with as half length is 16 inches, then plus half of an inch. Then the neck width and the neck depth, I'm making use of 3 inches by 3 inches. Sorry, 3.5 by 3 inches. The neck width is 3.5, while the neck depth is 3 inches. So the next thing is to insert the shoulder measurements. Then from the shoulder you go down by your chest line. I'm working with 8 inches chest line. Then on that chest line you're going to insert your shoulder measurement also, after which you're going to connect these dots like this. Then on the chest line you add your bust measurement, divide by 4 plus allowance that you want to use to join them. Then I'm going to curve. Remember, for the front armhole curve, you go in by half of an inch. So from the shoulder I will come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. I'm connecting it this way. So what I'm doing now is to add half of an inch for my joining allowance, after which the next thing I'm going to insert is the waist measurement, divide by 4 plus allowance for that and allowance for joining. So I'm going to connect it this way. Sorry, at the end of this video it does not really have, I did not really insert that. So at this point you can add your that allowance. So I'll go ahead and cut it out. So after cutting, this is what I have. I'll use the front to cut out the back. I'm placing it this way. So I will be adding 1.5 inches for zip allowance. Then after which I'm going to connect this thread so that I will use it to determine the neck depth for the back. So neck depth that I'm working with for the back is 1.5 inches for the back. So I'm going to connect it this way. So remember to shorten the back by 1/2 inch this way. Shorten the back so that it will not have a zipper bulge. So after which I went ahead to cut it out. So the next thing I went ahead to cut out a regular sleeve length of 10 inches, after which I cross-check the armhole to see if they are corresponding. So the next thing is to show you how to sew it. First of all, I went ahead to sew the front to front and back to back, that is, sew the flaps. So this is how I sew the back. I started with 1 inch at the beginning, then I go in, I reduce as I sew. So here I'll be inserting the zip. This is where the zip will pass through. So this is the front. So I'm going to join it. I went ahead to turn the neck also. So I'm going to join the front to front. You can choose to add yours that, but I'm making it plain. So I'm going to join the front to front, then back to back with the allowance that I added. So this is for the back. I just pin the back because at the end of the day I'll be inserting a zip. Then I turn the neck of the half length. So I'll be doing the same thing on the back to join the front to front. So after I finish joining the front to front, this is how it's looking like. The next thing I'm going to do now is to join front and back. This is the back. So I'm joining front and back, and this time around I'm inserting the necessary body measurements, which is the bust, accurate bust measurement, accurate waist measurement. Then if you want your hip part to be fitted, you can insert your accurate hip measurement. Then I use 1 inch to sew the remaining parts. After that, you go ahead and close it up and you are good to go. Please, if you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to my channel. See you on my next video. Thank you. Bye.